Welcome back to Behavioral Finance and FinTech, and I am Andy Kim. And here I'm going to talk about the FAQs about the facial masculinity related studies. Number one, how about female CEOs, right? Well, the thing is, fWHR and risk relation has been found only for male in the literature so far. Okay, why? Because usually those guys, right, whose pictures are available tend to be male corporate leaders. 95% of the US CEOs are male still, even though the percentage of female is linearly increasing every year. And I hope and I believe that ratio of female CEOs will drastically increase even more, faster. That should happen, I believe, right? Also in Korea as well. But until now, this tells us that more data is available for guys. Number two, we need a picture that shows both, the ears and then the cheekbones, okay, without hiding it, right? Like this. Or these days, a lot of female in Korea take picture like this. I have a small face, please. I have to measure this one. Just take your hands off. But can't. That's the problem. And then as you see Professor Jennifer Lerner, yes, at Harvard. And then you must have seen her in the video that I suggested, right? My interviews, right? I never imagined that I would be in the same video with Harvard professor over there. It's my honor, right, to be there. Anyway, but she also, this face over here, can we safely measure the cheekbones with, right, the hairs, right? That's why. And number two, and as she said, right, in that video, the difference between male and female on a wide variety of things are smaller than the difference between within males and within females. All right. So it has an implication for gender equity as well. Okay, guys and girls, not much different, but within guys, 상남자 versus feminine, right? 상남자 is like masculine, guys. 경상도 사나이 versus like a more the feminine, right? Guys, this difference is already big enough. And then also if you look at the girls, right? The masculine girls, they go everywhere. It's like, bah! Like, holy cow. There's a soap opera movie, I guess, like a chance, it's like related to liquor consumption of ladies these days. I don't know. I forgot the name of that program. But so that's there, right? Now, number two question, is the measure of facial width to height ratio another measure of overconfidence? I say no. People in the literature, and then myself as well, paper after paper, we find that the measure of facial masculinity is not correlated with overconfidence yet. Okay, very interesting part. The thing is, Mike Tyson, very masculine. And in his, game with there was that Evander Holyfield in 1997, he bit off the ears of the opponents like this, right? And got the nickname of nuclear teeth, right? 행이빨, right? Why did he do that? Because he is more masculine, and immediately he has to beat the opponent and winner. I cannot just take myself losing. 호승심 is too big. That's masculinity, achievement drive right away. It is not as much related to overconfidence. If you are overconfident that he's going to win anyway, in the long run, right? I'm going to be the best boxer ever in this world, in human history. Then would he ever have bitten off like that? 손발 다 안 되면 깨물어. 손발 다 써도 안 되면 깨물어 버리는 나니까 is like a TJ DOC's song, right? 난 이런 사람이야 kind of things, right? So it is distinctly different from, seems like it is, right? Different from overconfidence. This is the area we need further research, but so far doesn't seem like identical. I told you before, overconfident CEOs spend a lot more on R&D, okay? Because No matter how outside guys evaluate me, doesn't matter in the short run. Fuck it, man. I'm going to just do whatever I believe takes, it takes the whole world to a different level, right? Next level, right? I'm going to invest in that. And then ignore the other analysts or fund managers. What the hell ever you say, get out of here and just invest in it. Sometimes get kicked out, but it's okay. That's life. That's overconfidence. Masculinity will say what? Oh, you care about the net profit? Yeah, ROA, I'm going to do that for you. You said it. I did it right now. Give me the leadership position. That's masculinity. Immediate result versus longer term. That seems to be the difference over here. And are the results affected by the facial expressions of the photos? Quite a valid concern. And there I used Microsoft Face API, which is another fintech kind of applicable technology over there. And then I give you a sample of three pictures of the US CEOs, and then you will see, okay, you throw in to Microsoft Face API any pictures, and then it will spit out the perceived age, right? How young you look, the gender that you look, and then the expressions, the emotions that the machine captures. It could be naive Bayesian that we learned with before, or whatever machine learning technique they must have used, right? The thing is, the facial expression score should add up to 1, and then 8 different expressions they find. And then whether you have glasses or not, whether you have mustache or not, beard or not, sideburn or not, bald or not. Okay, now, so 3 pictures like this. Throw in and then spit out like this. The guy over here seems like 51 years old, 64 years old, 59 years old. How do they know it? Because the computer science guys have worked so much with millions and millions of face pictures of sample people all around the world, especially for Caucasian people, because European researchers have been more active in this area. And then right now, I guess Chinese as well, right? But anyway, so it's here, 51, 64, 59. Gender, you can see it. The emotion score that you see. Interesting thing is they add up to 1, and this guy on the right-hand side, the machine says happiness, right? We can see it. Yeah. But the other 2 guys, you see neutral, and then you see some smiles over here, but it doesn't seem like too much of happiness, but it's a mixture. Yeah, you can see that. Sakso kind of things, right? And then glasses versus not. It identifies that. Mustache, probabilistically, 10% chances, they say. And the bald. Yeah. And then 68%. You see the difference over here. And then, I also controlled for these variables in my regressions, and then still find that facial masculinity is the most significantly related to the risk of the companies and M&As of the companies. Some people were wondering whether this boldness, right? 대머리 총각, like boldness has to do with masculinity. Yes, it is. I also find that more bald people tend to be more risky, okay? But not as much as facial masculinity does, right? And then, why boldness? Because more testosterone that you got, the muscles that hold this hair, weakens, opens, which means the hair gets out. So that's what's happening, right? But that one is not as much, for compared to this facial masculinity. That's what we find. Is it a fintech course or whatever, a lifetime course, right? But a lot of interesting things that you learn in your life as well, right? I hope it is going to be helpful for you. Overconfidence issue, it's not that much. I told you about these, right? And then double-edged sword, although this masculinity seems to be, right? So good thing about it is it's achievement drive, right? Facial masculinity. And then it's more of a position-dependent utility, right? I have to be the number 1 guy over there right now. Yeah, that's what we see over here. Achievement drive. So there's a positive side of it. More willing to sacrifice his own wealth for the success of his group, and then proactively meet people, and then M&A, just more frequently doing and becoming a bigger guy, bigger company. Unintended consequence is like worse performance in hedge fund world, because they are more excessive risk takers, so that eventually they have to sell off so much of their holdings in their portfolio in a fire sale. This paper by Lu and Teo, Melvin Teo, okay, was recently published in Top Journal in Finance, and then hedge fund managers with masculine face. Their performance alpha is not as good, bad, right? Because of those mistakes they make, right? The thing is, they end up with a lot of fire sales. Oh, March, right? March time, you had this fire sale by a family office called what? Archegos of Bill Hwang, right? Korean guy, Korean American. None other than Korean American. And then so much money was in that, right? And then he was leveraging up his position like 5 times, whereas the average guys, the hedge funds, they leveraging up like 2 times or something. 2 versus 5 leveraging up, P2. And then 몰빵 투자 is like not diversifying his position to hundreds of different companies, even though he was managing like billions of dollars, right? But concentrating on China-related stock, unfortunately. That's why. And, eventually he ended up with this one. The thing is, this paper, they also find that those hedge fund managers, masculine-faced hedge fund managers, once they get married, their masculine behavior gets reduced and their alpha fund performance becomes better. So if you, go ahead and look at your face, and then if the facial masculinity score is high, then pray to have a good spouse, right, in the future, who will soothe your masculinity somehow to the optimal degree, right? And thank your spouse. And then, oh, I love you. It's like, thank you for helping me. 거친 생각과 불안한 눈빛과 그걸 지켜보는 너, 그건 아마도 전쟁 같은 사랑. It's like that idea. And then you are the ones like, that's this, right? I have to shut my mouth up anyway. And then higher probability of doing cosmetic accounting, higher probability of getting red card from English Premier League football players. That's what I find in my research. And then higher probability of getting into that penalty box in hockey games. And some of you may say, oh, that facial masculinity, isn't it a function of body mass index? Get fatter and then it's bigger. Up to a certain degree, yes, you're right. But what I find over here, English Premier League players, they have no time to gain weight. They have to keep on running so that the BMI is just constant. And controlling for that BMI information, I still find that the facial masculinity has to do with this result. That's an interesting finding. And then different occupation of different degree of risk taking, you see different degrees of facial masculinity going on. Finance professors, a lot smaller, right? More feminine looking. We have to study, right? Even among finance professors, right? Those who have industry experience, like 신영섭 교수님, have wider face. Is wider face than mine, okay? Industry experience, fund managing experience, all these kind of things, right? That's what they find, what we find. So dimension of masculinity in various ways. You see it, finger, face, and vocal masculinity is the next one that we're going to talk about. So wait for that one, all right? So thanks for watching until now. See you.